Hey guys, welcome back to Surveying with Robert. So my hopes today is to finish the video and show you guys all that data I collected with that R8s. So first thing I need to do is, before we do anything else, let's send some data off to the GNSS processor here. So I'm going to grab this file, this T02 out of this R8s. Trumbull R8s antenna, measured height 2 meters. You know what? I have that on that. I must have put the wrong height in there. 2.25 meters is actually what that is. So, next. Select a processor. We're going to say Opus. Next. Email address. Next, submitting file to processor. And while we're waiting on that, you guys watch this. Okay, so while we're waiting on the our static file to come back from Opus, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring everything in and we're going to take a look at it. So I thought maybe what we'd start with was the feature code library that I've got going on. So if we go, there's a couple different ways to do this. Let's jump into, up here at the top, there is a feature code definition manager up here, and if I say file and open, I believe it was this NEI FXL that I used. Yes, looks like I like it. Structures, utilities. Yep, this looks like the one I was using. Okay, so let me show you how I built this. So you've got different categories in here. So I've got fire hydrant, I've got topo would be like ground shots, brake lines, stuff like that. So let's look at some of these. So let's go to structures. Let's look at building corner. So if we look at building corner I've got set up as a line feature. And let's expand this a little bit. So I've got it set up as a line feature, and I've got building corner is the name. Building is actually my code, the line code. It's under my category structures, which is what I've got, keeping things organized. My feature library, I'm calling it EXBLDG, which is existing building. So line style solid, I don't want any crazy lines. No line labels. Color, whatever layer I choose. Point layer, which is actually the point itself, is point or PT underscore building. So, and I didn't use a point label style, okay, in this one. If we go to toe and the rest of them, we're going to see the same thing. Now, the ones that are interesting, as you can see, I did toe 1, toe 2, right? So top 1, top 2. So the reason I did that is so that I can shoot the edge of the road. I can say top 1, come over here, hit a top 2, go shoot some other stuff, come back top 2, and then I can do a top 1, and then shoot some other stuff, and I can keep cross-sectioning, right? Keep things moving forward if I have a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 of anything. So let's look at like fire hydrant though. What I did with it is I actually added a attribute. So it actually has a photo attached as an attribute. If you look at pedestal, I set up a couple different attributes. So you see, you could see when I selected in that video that there was, let's go into edit. So you can see I had chosen these different ones. And what I did is I just called it manufacturer. And then I can keep adding, right? So I just add to that list of values, and then I can select that list of values. So one of the things with a pedestal that that really would be good would be a symbol. So if I went into here and I said new symbol, and let's see what we got. Let's import symbols. Should be a symbol, open. Okay, so I mean, we could choose a symbol out of here. We could just do a double circle if we wanted to. How did I end up with a cross? Because I didn't do that right. That's why. Let's try that again. Symbols, open. So I'm going to say over here. So if I say double circle, and I say OK, now I'll get a double circle. So I'll call it pad, close enough, placement, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now you'll see it's giving me this double circle right here. Now that symbol is important because we're going to take this photograph when it comes to Civil 3D, and we're going to attach the photograph that we took to this symbol. Pretty important that you have that. So that's a pretty good example. Pipe, I did kind of the same thing. I did pipe. I said pipe type, plastic, steel. All these are pull downs. And then pipe size, same thing. I just created a list of, so when I can, when it says pipe size, I can just pull down and select which one I want. And then of course, photo, if I edit it, you'll notice it says photo, and I have the option of, I can make it required so that you can't move on without taking a photo of that. So same thing with pipes. If I wanted to, I could add some kind of symbol for a pipe, whatever, so I could attach that photograph to it. We're not gonna worry about that right now. So we got a bunch of lines and stuff. So the big thing is probably your control codes. And all I really did was a start and an end just to show you guys how this works. But if you go in and look at the control codes and we go down to new, where am I at? New point, new line, new polygon, new line control code. Wow, did not see that one. Okay, so you've got all kinds of different ones. So I can say, you know, joins to a specific point name. I can say ends the joining sequence, starts a joining sequence. That's the two that I used. Ends a smooth curve, all that good stuff. So all these you can add your custom, whatever you want to call it. You could call it ends tangential arc is number 23 if you want to. It doesn't make any difference. You can customize any way you want to. So okay, so that's how you set up the styles. Now these groups down here, what you can do with these groups, if we go in and say new, and we say new group, I can actually take all these codes and I could create new groups. So when I was doing the quick codes, when I was showing you measure codes, where you go to, you know, toe, top, and all that. So you could set up a group right here and, you know, call it topo. And then I could pick 9 to 25 different selections. So if I went in here and I said, I want to get all the, let's say like, guardrail. I thought I had a ground shot in here. I don't have a ground shot in here. So I could create a new code called ground shot. But anyways, like if I was shooting edge of whatever, edge of gravel, let's say I was doing edge of gravel 1, I can add that to this. So under the topo group, under my measure codes is going to be edge of 1. So I can do topo, cross section. I can have all these different groups so that I can use those to you know, as I'm going across, I can just take shots. It's a whole lot easier to shoot things that way. I might do a Tuesday tip or something on that. But anyways, no, I don't want to change anything. I haven't heard my email pop up. Not yet. Nope, that's something else. Okay, so let's close all this stuff down. So right now, let's go in and let me find, here's that job file. Okay, so the way this is going to work is you have a job file and then you have what I call a related file folder. So in this case, it's called training. So I've got a folder called training. Both of those are on the data collector under your Trimble data folder, which is under program data, Trimble data. It's under your project, blah, blah, blah. But there's going to be 2 folders. So if you called it training, there's going to be a folder in there called training that is actually a folder that houses all the photographs, the static you downloaded, and everything is going to be in there, okay? So when you pull this from, let's say you copied it to your computer to a directory somewhere, you can go into that job file and just drop and drag it. So I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to drop and drag it in here. It's asked me to convert to the imported file's definition or keep the existing. There's something different about the way I named it. It could be the name of the GUID model. It's more than likely what it is. I'm just going to say OK. Keep the definition from the data collector. Okay, so we've got 305 up here, which I think was something I actually deleted. What is 305? Or it was probably a point I was messing with. So let's just do this. Let's just delete 305. How's that? So if you notice up here, point number 1 actually has a red mark by it. Basically what that means is it's not corrected. It knows that that is the, it's an uncorrected position. So if you look, there's number 1 right there. So basically it knows it's an autonomous position. What I did is just a here position. If I had coordinates, I could have keyed coordinates in and I could have just used that. But I did an autonomous position like I didn't have any control set up at all. So I went out there, set that point, log static data, that static data, and then I can correct up this based on that static data. And I'll get that email in. I'll show you guys how to do this. So there's all of our points and everything. So now then, remember what I told you about in that related file folder houses everything, right? So I used a feature code library. So if I go to feature code processing, feature definition manager, when I copied it over this time, it didn't come with it. Last time it did. So I need to go and find that. I actually have it right here that I can use. Must have been the way I brought it in before. I brought it in straight off the data collector instead of copying it. So now what you can do is if you go to survey, you're going to see process feature codes. So when I say process feature codes, I go training, process source. Do I want to see the feature code? No, I'm not going to worry about it. So here is the all my line work and everything that came in. Okay. So if I click on that line right there, and we go to properties, it says it's a fence. It says it's a wooden fence. If I clear that selection and pick on that point right there, feature code FX layer PT fence. So if I went to my layers and looked, I should have a layer called PT fence. So I can just turn that layer off, right? Just like AutoCAD. So you're better off setting everything up. You can't put everything on a layer without going this route, right? So one of the things, another way that you can set some of this stuff up is under the Project Explorer. If we look, there's the feature code library right there, NEI. So I can add codes and stuff right here as well. So if I needed to, if I saw I got something jacked up and I need to fix it, I can go in here and I can add a code if I want to. So if I had a code under topo, ground shots, there it is right there. So I could go in here, I could say new, I could say you have a point definition feature and a line definition feature. A point definition feature is going to be like a fire hydrant, right? A line is going to be like a water line. So keep that in mind. So I could do a new point if I wanted to, create it right there on the fly. I don't have to go back to my other, which I thought I had it open up here, the feature definition manager. I don't have to go in it and deal with it. I can deal with it right here, and I don't have to re-import it. I can change it right here, and it's going to update. Okay. So I'm literally waiting for that email to come in so I can show you guys how to do these points. Now you remember I did show you how to do an offset, right? And I told you to make sure that you stored it a particular way. Now the reason I told you that is because of right here. So if I go and look at show feature code, you'll see that's my power pole, but that's my offset, and this is my reference line between the two. So there's my azimuth and there's my ground distance right there. So you can see on all of them that all the ones that anything I offsetted, that it's going to be in there. See power pole, there's the offset. So I have an offset point and a power pole shot. So if I went into here and looked under utilities, and if I wanted to, I could come in here and create a new point feature definition, name, let's call it OS. OS for a code. Layer, I can say new layer. We'll call it OS. How about we call it point underscore, whoops, PT underscore OS. Okay, so we close that. PT layer, by layer, label style, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we should have that in there. So now if I went back to process feature codes and I said remove processing, whoops. I said remove processing, okay? And I said process feature codes. Let's see if that landed. Feature code OS. So if I went into my layers and I scroll down here, there should be a point OS. Boom, boom. So that's how you do that with the feature coding and everything. Okay. So the other thing I want to show you is you've got these photographs on here. Now these photographs are going to be really important when we take this out to AutoCAD. So there's the photograph right there. Whoops. See if it'll give it to me like this, since it's an attribute. Media folder, boom, there's the power pole I shot, okay? So that's a picture I took of it. So you can see the pictures in here, and this is where it's located. It's where it resides if you need it. So you can also go to, if we went to point number 170, so if I look, for 170, there it is. So there's a media folder right there. So there's a media folder. I could say open. There it is. A couple different ways. Typical Trimble, you got about 3 different ways to locate stuff, right? So I really did want to get in here and build the surface or anything until I got that email back from Opus. There it is. There's my file. Okay, let's save that. What I want to do is actually save this, save as, and I have got this on this F drive under training files. Okay, save. Okay, so now I've got it. Cool. Now we can get serious about it. Now then, so if I go back over here to training files, open it up, this is an XML. So when you send it off to Trimble, to the GNSS processor, what it does is it sends it off and gets an extended format, okay? So it's giving us the XML file. Well, the XML, it's really handy to get the XML file because when I do, I grab the XML file, I just drop and drag it in here. So now if you look, I've got 2 points. I've got my XML, which this is my good point, and this is my bad point, or my autonomous point, okay? So let's go in, I'm gonna show you how this works. So here's this power pole. I'm gonna go into this power pole. I'm gonna go CAD, and I'm gonna go circle, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna draw a circle right there, and I'm gonna draw a circle right there. So what I wanna show you is how this moves, right? Okay. So the circle's not going to move, just the points. So this is why I'm showing you this, okay? So let's go into, I always have to remember where this is at. I can never remember. Merge points. It's under survey and under COGO. Merge points. So what points do I want to merge? CP base, and I'm going to hold down my control and select that one. Now then, hidden in plain sight, you have this little plus right here. So how does this work, right? So I've got my destination and I've got my final. So if you look at it, point ID 1 underscore, this is the RINEX or the XML file name, that one. So I want it to be my final, and I want to include this other point. It's got a question mark because it doesn't have a it's an autonomous position, so it doesn't have any control factor to it, right? And one of the things I might want to mention is when you bring in data from say a receiver and you bring that data straight in, be careful because it'll bring it in as a triangle like control. If it does that, go to left hand side, go find your point, and you want to go to properties and you want to change that to something other than control, or it's not going to move, it'll be locked down. Okay, so now then I've got 2 selected. I'm not doing anything automatic. I'm saying I want this to move. I say okay. So all these points just moved to that new one. So if I go back here and look, my circles are still attached to those points. That didn't work out like I planned. Oh, wait a minute. I'm brain dead. Down here at the bottom, there's a recompute point. So nothing has moved as of yet except for that point right there. So let's back out a little bit. So when this red ball should be this big around on this screen. It ought to just pop up right in the middle of the screen. This big red ball means recompute. So what it wants me to do is it wants me to recompute everything. So when I recompute, that's when everything's going to move. Everything else is going to move. I always forget to do this. Recompute. Do you see the shift? Now look. Now it's moved everything to the correct place. It's moved it that 5 feet south. Okay. So about blew that one, didn't I? So let's go in here. So now then, let's look at a few things. Here's my photo, my fire hydrant. So if you look in here, with an attribute, there's like nothing there, right? So with an attribute, I have to go back in, and that is point number 260, which should be lit up. There again, I can go to the media file if I want to. Open. And there it is. There's my fancy fire hydrant. 1948 or something fire hydrant. So, keep saying we'll call the insurance company, tell them I got a fire hydrant, see if they'll lower my insurance. Okay, so I'm going to clear selection. Now this is where it gets interesting right here. So I've got 2 images. See this? If you'll remember, when I shot those building corners, I told you that there was 2 images. There was the picture I was writing on, and then there was the original image, right? So if I go to that one, there's the one I wrote on. If I go back to that, and if you'll notice it says original, there's the original one that I didn't write on. So same way down here. Oop, I gotta select it first. Trying to just select that. Oh, just select that. There again. There we go. All my junk sitting out front. So that tells you how to handle that, right? Okay, so we've got everything in here. So now I want to get rid of these vector lines. So let's go up here to RTK vector. Let's get rid of them. Okay. Let's go down to I probably want to keep the code, get rid of the points. So show point IDs. Okay. So you know, if I wanted to, I could go in here. This is I think that, what are they calling that? They are calling that an azimuth. So that's an azimuth line. So if I come over here and look, there is a azimuth. Whoops, that wasn't it. Offset. It's an offset. Okay, we'll keep the azimuth then. So that's an offset line. And there's my offset point, which has my photo attached to it instead of the power pole because I did an offset. So, and over here are my pedestals that I shot. So if I look at that pedestal, got to select it first. Open with, there's my pedestal. Okay, that's also tied in as an attribute. And this is where I screwed up and put text or something on the pedestal. Anyway, so I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Normally I'd go back and fix it. What I'm worried about right now is I want to get in here and I want to go in here and look, and I want to get rid of my EOA, my EOC. I'm going to get rid of the fence, guardrail, offsets, toe top. Okay. So now then, let's go in here and select what we want. So I can select a couple different ways. So let's go in and let's go to surfaces. Let's go to create surface, and I want to select by layer. Okay. So what do I want? I want to do the edge of gravel. The fences are all ground shots. Might as well use the fire hydrant. The flow line. I'm not worried about the pedestal because it's outside. Pipe. Power. No, let's not use the power poles. Let's do toe. We'll do the building. Edge of gravel. And what I'm doing is I'm using the lines and points in here to create this. So if I had like break lines, right? So that flow line's a break line. I tell you what, let's do this. Let's just use the flow line. Okay. I don't think I shot any toes or tops in there, did I? Yes, I did. So I'm going to use the toe. And we're going to use the edge of gravel. Okay. So then point, ground shot. Is there anything I need? Flow line. Point, flow line. Okay. So point, toe. And I'm going to use point pipe as well. Okay. Okay. So I've got all that stuff selected. You can see all that. That's why I didn't use power pole down there. So I've got all these points selected here. I'll say close. Gray is just not that pretty. How about we use something like cyan? That'll make a pretty color on it. So let's call this finish. Or let's call it existing. Existing. Okay. There we go. As you can see, we got our surface build using all the points that we wanted in there. So that's our surface. If we went to home and we went to 3D view, you can see, whoops, gotta hold the button down. You can see our cool surface there. Now then, let's go back to plan view, and I want to go back to surfaces, and what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to trim my surface edge. So let's say that I don't want to use these, those, those. I don't want to use that one. Probably don't want to use that one. Let's come up here and look. Rid of that one. That one. That's kicking it a little far. Kicking it a little far. Don't need either one of those two. Oh, that looks good enough to me. Okay, so we trimmed the surface up. So now if we want to, we could go in and I could just do quick contours. Quick contours, surface, contour interval, we'll say 1 foot. Layer. Let's do a new layer. How about existing contours? Okay, existing contours, color by layer, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to say okay. So there's my contours. Now if I want to, I can come down here to surface, get rid of the surface. There's my contours. Okay, that's what I shot in there. As you can see, we got a high spot right here. And if we looked at the elevation, 2017.66. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to create a line down through here. CAD, line string. And let's go ahead and show elevation. So I'm gonna call it center line. Layer. New layer. I'm just gonna call it straight up center line. Okay. We're gonna say okay. Coordinate. Okay, so I've got my O snaps on, so let's go ahead and turn the O snaps off. Point, end point. And I just want to do free. Click a point right there, and I'm going to call it 214.60. And then I could call that 215. Let's stay with the 215. Okay, that's coming back down. Let's go with 216. 217. 217. 217. 217. 217. 217. I am sure I am going to have to take some of this out of here, or this video is going to be an hour long. Okay, so we have our center line in here now. Now that we figured out where we want to put our center line, now what we need to do is go to corridors. We need to create alignment. So name Roberts Road. How about that for an alignment? And new layer. But we just call it road. Okay, we're going to use an existing line. We've already had this one selected. We're going to say okay. There's the Lament Editor, so there's my line. Of course, all my lines are just tangents. I didn't do anything crazy with this line. You could import something in or whatever. The key to the thing is you could use an existing line. So if I brought over a line from AutoCAD or from Bentley or from wherever, I can actually use that line. I can select it and say use existing line, and it will create me an alignment on it. Okay. So now we have our alignment. Now what do we need to do? So now let's create a corridor. Name. How about Roberts Farm? So we're using Roberts Road vertical, original ground. We're going to use existing. We're not going to worry about all that. That's our reference surface. Okay. Begin station. How about we start at 0? Template name. what's called slope. Insert. Okay, so if we look at Roberts Road here are our cross sections basically coming into this thing. You can see where the edge of the gravel's at. You can see where Roberts Road's at, how it comes in there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let me back out a little bit so you can see it better. Does that help? So you can see my center line of my road and my cross sections in there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do an offset slope. We're going to do from the center line from Roberts Road. Our offset is going to be, what do you think? 12 foot. Our slope should be 2%. So, wrong one. 2% slope, name, we'll call it top. Reference service, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So there's our slope, except that I should have done a minus instead of a plus. Whoops. Let me go back and edit that. Minus 2%. Save. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so we got that done. So so now we want to add a template in here, right? So we're going to say save. So we saved it. So now what we want is a new template. Add instructions. Instead of offset slope, we're going to go side slope. We're going to go from the top, and we're going to target existing. Our cut slope is going to be a 3-to-1, and our fill slope is going to be a 3-to-1. We're not going to put a ditch in it. We'll call this toe. Add. Okay, so there's our slope. Now then, we've got all on the right hand side, we need on the left hand side. So you're going to come up here to this cute little button. We're going to say mirror. There's the left hand side. So we've got a slope. So as you can see, I got a fill right there. So now if we go down the road again, we grab this button and we go down the road. Here's our road. Ain't that cool? So there's a road. Okay. So let's close this. Let's get in here and look. So if we go to 3D and look at it, you can see our cool road that we built. So you can see where the existing surface is at. You can see where the old road is, the new road, all that stuff. So now if I wanted to go in here, and if you're wondering why I didn't carry this on out, it's because I don't have cross sections out here far enough for it to catch the next one. So let's go to home. Let's see, where is it at? Gots to remember. You know what? I think it's up here. Is there earthwork report? Yes. Surface to surface. I want to go from initial is going to be existing. Final is going to be Roberts Farm. I'll say okay. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to have to cut 144.6 yards. I'm going to have to fill 2,961 yards. Let's see, 16 yards, or let's say 10 yards to a truck at $130. It's going to cost me a bunch to build my driveway. So we've got a cut area, we've got a fill area. Between the cut and the fill, we've got a deficit of 2,816 yards. So the total volume of the banks and areas and stuff is right here. So we've got a fill area total of 24,000 cubic feet, 7,000 cubic feet for a total of blah, blah, blah. But this is the number we're looking for because when we're going to have the trucks hauled in to build our driveway, we're going to need 2,900 yards plus shrinkage, right? So another, what, 15% on top of that, and you should be able to build a road if you don't waste any dirt. So anyways, Man, that was a lot. That was a lot tried to shove into one video. And you know what? I really didn't even get to the juicy part with the photos. If we go to home and we go to export, and I say CAD, and I say DWG exporter, there is an attributes exporter right here that I can use. When I export the attributes will come over into Civil 3D along with this DWG. When it does that, then I can actually attach those photos. When you bring it over into Civil 3D, the photos, they're not automatically hyperlinked, and it's not something that Trimble wishes they could do, because they can't, because it's actually in Civil 3D. There's no way to automatically hyperlink a picture that I'm aware of in Civil 3D. You have to manually go in and hyperlink it. But at least we know where the director's at. We know where they're stored at. They're going to be in this Trimble Business Center project. So all you got to do is go find the project, hyperlink each one of them. And you can hyperlink real easily. You can hyperlink the symbols or lines, or you create some kind of symbol, you can hyperlink it. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Gosh, man, I hope I can edit this to where it's not like 2 hours long. Jesus, this is a lot of information to go through. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys watching this. And I've got somebody I'm giving the, let's see here. I think I figured out. Joshua Ellis is who I've decided I'm going to give this code to. So Josh, dude, send me an email. surveyingwithrobert@gmail.com. Send me an email and I will send you that code. I'm going to see if I can get some temporary codes, like some 30-day, I don't know if they have 60-day or 90-day codes. I'm going to see if I can get some of those, and I'm going to keep an eye on the comments on that video, and I will I'll see if I can get the rest of you guys some codes. Or drop me an email, right? Drop me an email. I'm pretty sure I can get you a temporary code, 30-day temporary code. Drop me an email. If you want a 30-day temporary code, surveyingwithrobert@gmail.com. I'll do my best to get you a temporary code. How's that? I love all of you. I really appreciate you guys watching. My video on the R12s, I'm giving away some Trimble swag in that one. So you guys watch it. I'm asking you to take a picture of your equipment, maybe like a selfie with your gear, and send it to me, and best picture wins, okay? God bless, take care, see you guys in the next video, and don't forget to like and subscribe.